What's going on, guys? I'm the Wrestling King coming at you with the Extreme Rules pay-per-view DVD collection going all the way from 2009 up until 2021. Extreme Rules is coming up in 4 to 5 weeks from now, so I figured, I reviewed the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-views. If you have not seen that, they are up on the channel. Went up a couple days ago, or a few days ago, depending on when this gets uploaded. So definitely go check that out if you have not already. And now we're getting into Extreme Rules, starting off with 2009. So, looking at the cover, we have Rey Mysterio with his mask filled with everyone else's kind of attire. So, you got Triple H right there. Looks like CM Punk. So, very cool stuff. I like what they did there. It was cool. And I like the old Extreme Rules logo. And I don't mind, I like the color scheme they do nowadays, the purple and green. But I do like some of these older Extreme Rules logos. Especially that spine. That's a pretty nice looking spine. For 2009 too. So, for the match card, we got Orton and Batista, steel cage for a WWE title, Edge and Jeff Hardy, ladder match for the World Heavyweight title, triple threat Hardcore Rules match for the ECW title, Christian, Tommy Dreamer, and Jack Swagger, no holds barred match for the IC title, Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, John Cena and Big Show in a submission match, a fatal four-way for the U.S. title, Kofi Kingston, MVP, Matt Hardy, and William Regal, a Samoan strap match, CM Punk vs. Umaga, a hog pen match for the Miss WrestleMania crown, Vicky Guerrero and Santina Marella. So there you go. And there is your three main matches of the night. And then, if I can get this open here, I will show you the inside. So there's your disc. So yeah, I'm not going to be running through like every match on these. Once we get into the years that don't have a match listing. So, like, say, 2014, I won't go through every match. I'll just kind of talk about the main points. But next up, Extreme Rules, 2010. You got Sheamus, who is very white, as they want you to know. He's very pale man. But he also has red hair, so there you go. That stands out. Kind of an odd Extreme Rules logo. It looks like it's just carved in, but I dig it. It's cool. You got a white spine there. A very white DVD here. The absence of color, I suppose. Or maybe it's the every color, whatever. So you kind of have the superstars in black and white, where the titles shine all through with their gold. So that's cool. Triple H and Sheamus down there. For a special feature, you get Shawn Michaels' farewell speech on Monday Night Raw. And then the matches, you have JTG versus Shad in a strap match. An Extreme Makeover match for the Women's Championship, Michelle McCool and Beth Phoenix. A gauntlet match, Big Show and The Miz versus R-Truth and John Morrison versus MVP and Mark Henry versus the Hart Dynasty. Then a street fight between Triple H and Sheamus. Steel cage match, Edge and Chris Jericho. So a lot of WrestleMania rematches on this show from WrestleMania 26. CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio, and if Punk loses, he gets his head shaved. And the Extreme Rules match for the World Heavyweight title, Jack Swagger and Randy Orton. And your last man standing match for the WWE Championship, John Cena and Batista. And there's your disc art. You have Sheamus just staring right into your soul there. So, yeah, if you don't like Sheamus, well, you do now. He's making you like him. And there all the DVDs go. That's alright. We're going to get to them later anyway. Extreme Rules 2011. We have John Cena with the WWE title yelling at someone through a steel cage, and I always thought this cover just kind of looked lazy. It almost looks like the old Superstar DVDs where it's just the WWE Superstar and then John Cena with a red background, but instead it's just like this weird fawn up here. I don't know. Very nice spine, though. It's similar to 2009, just about the same, I think. So then, for our matches, your main event, you have John Cena, The Miz, and John Morrison for the WWE title inside a steel cage. A ladder match for the World Heavyweight title, Christian Navarro Del Rio. A last man standing match between Randy Orton and CM Punk. Falls Count Anywhere, Rey Mysterio and Cody Rhodes. Tag team country whipping match, Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross versus Michael Cole and Jack Swagger. Extreme Rules match, loser leaves WWE, Michelle McCool and Layla. And then you get a home video exclusive, an interview with the new World Heavyweight Champion. So there you go. And there is your disc art, just the Extreme Rules logo. It's simple, but I think it works. It's alright. Next up, what many people may consider to be the best Extreme Rules pay-per-view they've ever had. Extreme Rules 2012. You got Lesnar and Cena on the cover. This was, of course, right after WrestleMania 28, and Lesnar had made his return to the company after being gone for, I think, 8 years. Yeah, so very good show in a lot of people's opinions, and you can't really deny it. For your special feature, you get another home video exclusive. There you go, Matt Striker interviewing CM Punk. There you go. So, again, kind of some rematches. You got Randy Orton and Kane, Falls Count Anywhere, Intercontinental Championship, tables match, Big Show and Cody Rhodes, a World Heavyweight title match, Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, 2 out of 3 falls, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE title, a Chicago street fight, Divas title match, Nikki Bella and Layla, and then your main event, John Cena and Brock Lesnar in an Extreme Rules match. I believe Cena went over in this match, and a lot of people think Brock should have won, which he probably should have. But, it was Cena, and he took the loss to Rock at Mania. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But, yeah, like I said, probably the best Extreme Rules pay-per-view, that they've ever had since its inception. Next up, we have Extreme Rules 2013. Triple H and Brock Lesnar main eventing and putting on a much better match compared to their Mania 29 match. And yeah, Lesnar in another main event at Extreme Rules, second year in a row. Very nice spine there. You have Triple H and Brock Lesnar in the, fading in from the darkness. Then a pretty nice Extreme Rules spine. I like the logo here as well. So, like I said, Triple H and Brock Lesnar in the main event. You had Sheamus and Mark Henry in, I believe, a strap match. And that was when you had to touch all 4 of the corners, which I thought was kind of dumb, but is what it is. You had Cena and Ryback for the WWE Championship. And, from what I remember, Cena and Ryback didn't have too bad of matches, to be honest. This one ended in, I think, no contest, but they would have a rematch at Payback. So, you also had the Shield winning every member of the Shield winning a title. Dean Ambrose winning the U.S. title. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins winning the tag belts from Team Hell No and Kofi Kingston, I believe. There's your disc art. Very cool there. I like that disc art a lot. So there you have it, 2013. Now moving on to kind of a guilty pleasure, Extreme Rules for me, 2014. This was when I was watching, just got into watching wrestling. I guess I'd been watching for a year or maybe a year and a half. So you have Kane and Daniel Bryan, kind of an odd action shot because Daniel Bryan's just kind of lifeless and Kane's just moving around. I don't know. And then your flaming table there, which is kind of cool, but I wish they would have done a spot where someone's going through it if they were going to put this on the cover. Either way. Then you have your new Extreme Rules logo where it's just an X with the Extreme Rules going through it, 1R. I don't mind it. I think it works, but I like the other covers logo a little better. So up here you have Daniel Bryan in his only title defense after winning the title at WrestleMania 30, which is kind of sad, but I do think it was a very good main event between him and Kane. Extreme Rules. So yeah, pretty good main event. You also had the Shield versus Evolution, which a lot of people might think is the best match of this show. And I really enjoyed their matches as well. And then you had a lackluster steel cage match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt. So, like I said, I like this show, but it's not perfect. No show, or not many shows are. But there's your disc art. You have the crowd with some yes signs there. Full yes movement, Daniel Bryan. Very cool. So, yeah, like I said, I like this show, but it's not the best, if I'm being honest. Next up, we will move into 2015. I really like the cover here. You have the X dividing into 4 sections. You have the steel cage WWE title match, Rollins and Orton up here. You have Big Show and Roman there, and then the Russian chain dividing through the R with Rusev and Cena. There's your spine there. You got Orton and Rollins once again. Very cool. And on this one, we do have a match listing. It's kind of odd, they switched back to doing them. 2015 had a couple match listings, but not consistently enough. A very cool spot with Roman Reigns and Big Show. I thought that was a good last man standing match, personally. So you had a Chicago Street Fight, Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper. Kiss Me Arse match, Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus. A tag title match, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd versus The New Day. A Russian chain match for the U.S. title, Cena and Rusev. Nikki Bella and Naomi for the Divas title. Last man standing match, Roman Reigns versus Big Show. And then a steel cage match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And the RKO is banned, and Kane is the gatekeeper. Rollins versus Orton. I don't think every match was very good on this pay-per-view, but I like that they had a ton of stipulations for this show. I think it made for a better Extreme Rules show because you had a lot of stipulations, so I like that they went ahead and did that. And we did get a tops card here, Dean Ambrose, so that's always cool. So next up, we will move into Extreme Rules 2016. Roman and Styles on the cover, and the returning Seth Rollins. And very cool black and white artwork there. Very nice cover. So, yeah. This show was actually pretty decent. You know, you had a really good main event between Roman and Styles. Extreme Rules for the WWE title. And, of course, like I said, Rollins would return, setting up for a match with Reigns at Money in the Bank in 2016. And then you had Jericho and Ambrose in the Ambrose Asylum, where Jericho went through the thumbtacks. And then a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and The Miz. So, you know, good stuff with the Intercontinental title around this time. I really like The Miz's reign with the title. There you go, you got John Cena tops card, and there's your discard, Roman and Styles in black and white once again. Now, next up, we'll move into our double feature, the only double feature of this video. And I will not go through Money in the Bank. This is just Extreme Rules. So you got the Hardy Boys with some purple and green background. Very nice cover. I actually like it. It was just the poster artwork, but I always like poster art for covers, personally. There's your spine, more purple and green in the background. So this show was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view after the brand split. So, you know, you had the Hardy Boys versus The Bar in a steel cage for the Raw tag titles. You had The Miz winning the Intercontinental title from Dean Ambrose here. And then you had your kendo stick on a pole match between Bayley and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. And your main event, your fatal five-way between Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, and your winner, Samoa Joe, where the winner would face Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire the next month. So there you go, you get a Dean Ambrose trading card once again. And there's your discard. You have your main event right there. I think that's pretty cool discard. So yeah, not the best show overall, but I do think the main event delivered. You know, I feel like I've said that a lot. The main event of these shows usually deliver, but it's the rest of the show that doesn't seem very extreme. Here you go, you got Extreme Rules 2018. This is a 2-disc release. The first 2-disc set, unless you count the double feature, but I wouldn't count that. This is just Extreme Rules. So you got 2-disc Extreme Rules set here. And you got all your stars here. Team Hell No, the Bludgeons, you know, Alexa and Nia, Roman, Lashley. Your main event, Rollins and Ziggler. And then Styles, Rusev, Strowman, and Kevin Owens. So they would go with this kind of X dividing into fourths a lot with these covers, I will admit. You got Strowman up here, who faced Kevin Owens in a steel cage match, where Kevin Owens won by Strowman throwing him off the cage, which was interesting. You had Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title, and Ronda Rousey would get involved in that match, setting up for a match with Bliss at SummerSlam. You had Rusev and AJ Styles in a WWE title match, which was cool to see Rusev getting a little bit of a push there. But I was going to say you had Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns in a number 1 contenders match to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And then your main event, Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a 30-minute Iron Man match. You know, during this time, the summer of 2018, Ziggler and Rollins were putting on really good matches. So, you know, I was a fan of their matches during this whole feud, and, you know, it was a really good time for the Intercontinental title. So, yeah, Extreme Rules 2018, it was an alright show. If I didn't say, the Team Hell No reuniting versus the Bludgeon Brothers, so there were some cool parts to this show, and, you know, not too bad of an event. It was alright. Next up, we have Extreme Rules 2019, And, on the cover, you got your main event here, Rollins and Becky, who took on Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans in a tornado mixed tag for both the Universal and Raw Women's title. And then Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. Ricochet and AJ Styles for the United States Championship. They always had very good matches as well. And Roman Reigns and The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. So it was cool to see Taker, at Extreme Rules of all pay-per-views. You wouldn't expect it, but this was after Super Showdown, his match with Goldberg. He had to get a little redemption here. And very good match to open the show, him and Roman versus Shane O'Mac and McIntyre. And very cool back art, I also think. You got Paul Heyman screaming in the background, and if you didn't know, Brock Lesnar cashed in on Rollins at this show to win the title, the Universal title, I should say, for about a month, and then he dropped it again at SummerSlam 2019. But, it is what it is. I thought that was a cool moment to see Brock with the briefcase and cashing it in, so very cool. You also had Xavier Woods and Big E of the New Day picking up the win for the SmackDown Tag titles against Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan and Heavy Machinery. And there you have a nice shot of Kofi Kingston with the WWE title, as well as AJ Styles winning the US title. So, this was a very good show, actually. You also had Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley in a good last man standing match. So, very extreme and very good pay-per-view from what I remember. So, yeah, definitely a good show for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. But we cannot say the same for the next year, as many of you have been waiting for. Extreme Rules, the horror show. Very nice cover here. I think we can all agree on that. I love the purple and the green. I've said that many times. I think it's very cool. Very cool what they did with this cover here. But, yeah, it's not a good show. I remember it because it was very bad. It was. Not saying there wasn't any good match. I think Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler had a very good Extreme Rules match for the WWE title. But another part that hurt the show, this was during the time of the pandemic, so this was in the Performance Center. So we didn't have an actual crowd. We had the WWE trainees, and we had cinematic main event, Strowman and Bray Wyatt in the swamp fight. Just terrible end to a pay-per-view. You had Sasha Banks and Asuka for the Raw Women's title, which had a iffy finish with Bayley counting the 1, 2, 3. Wasn't official, but Sasha still held the title for like a month. She wasn't the champion, she just carried her out. I don't know. You had Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the New Day for the SmackDown Tag titles in an okay tables match. And the Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio eye for an eye, which was just odd. It was awkward. I don't know. It's like Rey Mysterio has both of his eyes now. They didn't stick with it very long, so it's just kind of like, why even do it? I don't know. Yeah, very, very odd time and very odd disc. Very bright green. I think they did the same for 2021, which is the last pay-per-view of this video. Extreme Rules 2021. This was a little better than 2020, which isn't hard to beat. It's just this pay-per-view suffered from not being extreme enough. You had some good matches, I think, but nothing too spectacular here. This took place after SummerSlam 2021, and Brock Lesnar had just returned. However, they still phoned in the Roman Reigns and Finn Balor main event, which was Demon Finn Balor, and the ending was the ropes just kind of combusted and broke, which caused Balor to lose. Reigns would retain the title and move on to Brock in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel. And then you had a match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. I always think they have good matches. This was not the best match of their feud. I think that was at WrestleMania 38. You had a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Jeff Hardy. Pretty good triple threat match, I'll say. And Big E, the WWE Champion, didn't even have a title match on this show. It was just a 6-man tag between the New Day, AJ Styles, Omos, and Bobby Lashley. So they could have done more with Big E for this show, I think. You had Sasha Banks returning to break up the Bianca and Becky match. And then you had Alexa Bliss when she was carrying around her doll versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's title. So, I don't know. Like I said, some of the matches were okay. It's just, this was more of like a payback type of event. You know, it wasn't very extreme. Even though the main event was Extreme Rules, the rest of the show was not very hardcore, if you want to call it that. But you did get a Bray Wyatt trading card when I think he had gotten released, but they still put this trading card in the DVD. So people thought that was kind of weird then. I guess technically it is. So yeah, that's about it for Extreme Rules pay-per-views. I'm just gonna leave them tipped over. We're just gonna leave them like that. Kind of some ups and downs throughout its pay-per-view history. Definitely some good matches and overall good pay-per-views in here, but you also have some bad ones. I'm talking about you, the horror show. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I just wanted to make something that would maybe get you a little hype for Extreme Rules coming up in a month. So let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.